Hello everybody, welcome to the Royally Based podcast. I'm your host, Northie, and this episode is sponsored by my brother's Netflix account and coffee. It is Wednesday, the 14th of December 2022. Harry and Meghan's Netflix docuseries thingy comes out, volume 2 of it comes out tomorrow, Thursday the 15th of December 2022, and I'm going to watch it, take one for the team and watch it for the podcast, and I'm going to break down some key points for you in today's episode. So wish me luck, I'm going in.
I'm too angry to talk. I want to slash someone's head in.
A few moments later.
What? Okay, fine. I'm cool. I'm fine.
I can feel the venom pouring out of me as I breathe.
Well, I've just spent 2 and a bit hours watching the Harry and Meghan show, volume 4, 5 and 6 on Netflix. It wasn't very good. I'm not gonna lie. It was very industrial beige. If industrial beige pictures was a thing, this would be it. They're trying to come across as very wholesome, very pure. It's very schmaltzy. It's very false. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I don't recommend, don't watch it. So let's just talk about a few things. I want to say the villain of the piece is the Daily Mail. Hello, the Daily Mail. You are evil, apparently, according to Harry and Meghan. They are in it all the way through, all 3 episodes. Like some lurking people in the back. It's going to jump out and get you. Next year's Halloween costume will be the Daily Mail. They basically say the Daily Mail, they imply, they don't outright say it, they imply it was the Daily Mail that stole the letter from Thomas Markle. He didn't give them it. They imply that the Daily Mail caused Meghan's miscarriage. They also, oh my God, this is wild. They also kind of like imply that the Daily Mail are just like in cahoots with the Prince King Charles and Prince William, and they're getting all these stories and planting all these stories. So yeah, it's a lot. And I think people will genuinely believe this stuff. So I want to get into a few points. I'm not going to cover everything off because I'm going to be talking again about this with Rich over the weekend, and we're going to put another podcast up for you. I'm not going to get into the mental health stuff. That's a conversation for me and Rich because he's a counsellor. So we are going to just talk a little bit about the framing of this. I think it was very interesting. We get all this kind of like emotional music, this kind of like piano-y bits and la 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 la. And they do this great job of kind of setting things up, setting like Meghan and Harry up as these kind of like almost pure innocent people who are just stalked by this media, this relentless media. It neglects to say that there is actually journos coming out now saying, no, she called the paps on us. She told us to take the pictures. She's been there. They wanted us there. Right, go on Twitter. There's loads of stuff on there. It's allegedly. Have a look. That's what they're saying. That's what it's on Twitter, allegedly. Just go and have a look. There's also Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry sits there with his whole chest and he is saying that he's Lilibet's godfather and he's not going to a chapel to be with them, meaning the royal family, and doing that whole thing. And it's just like, dude, really? Beyonce texts Meghan at some point. She doesn't appear in it. And Beyonce says, I think you've been chosen to break generational curses. Okay, let's keep going. there's a lot of framing of the Daily Mail being the villain of the piece. Like I say, they've caused all of these bad things to happen to Meghan. William is also the bad guy because William apparently shouted and screamed at Harry at the Sandringham summit, and Charles was just very misunderstanding, and the Queen just sat there looking bemused. And I feel like we are getting a one-sided version of events, and I'm so pure and innocent. And the fact that Meghan wasn't allowed to be at the Sandringham summit was a point of contention for them, because like they're talking about, look, they wanted in, they wanted out. Just sort it out. Just go. I mean, the fact that they haven't sued Tom Power, who wrote Revenge, or Valentine Lowe, who wrote Courtiers, is astounding. But they're so happy against the Mail. I think it was Dan Wootton who broke the whole Megxit story, that they were leaving in the Sun. Why didn't they sue the Sun? Why haven't they sued all these people? But they're focusing on the Mail about this letter. The monarchy, right, being the Queen and senior royals, advised them not to sue the Mail. And they said they'd take it, and eventually they went, okay, we'll sue it. And it wasn't happening quickly enough for them, so they got a different lawyer and they went and sued the Mail. Part of which, and they also mentioned the People interview that her friends did, and their friends are on record going, oh my God, Meghan never asked us to do this. We just went to People and we wanted to put her side across, and we just wanted to do it as a nice thing. So there's that. And the fact that the Mail say, well, you mentioned the letter in People. They have a problem with that. So it is a massive case of trying to correct the record. Still trying to correct the record. We are going to get this ongoing forever. This is just going to keep going and going and going, guys, because they want things. They want everyone to drink the Kool-Aid and believe a version of events that suits them. That's it at the end of the day. That's all they want. They want a version of events that suits them. They say the majority of people who don't like them are middle-aged Caucasian ladies. Can you imagine if you said that and said the majority of people who like this person or like that person in a negative sense of this demographic? It's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. I mean, honestly, the barefaced. Okay. And then Harry's like, oh, I love the British public. Oh. He's on record as saying he hates England. He hates Britain. He said that before he met Meghan. He's never liked Britain. It's a thing. There's stuff floating around about that. And then there was the bit about us. The Mexiteers from the old days. The Yankee Wallies. The Murky Megs. The According to Tazzers. And I used to be in it. Yeah, I was a little bit on the peripheral. Tarot reading weirdo, but I was on the peripheral. And there's plenty more has sprung up since then. There's plenty more channels. There's from all over the world, from all different colours. And I have to say, everybody who follows my YouTube channel, or even the ones who are in like the Coven membership thing that I do, they all different creeds, all different races from all different parts of the world. Okay. So Christopher Boozy rocks on up, saying bot Sentinel. He doesn't mention that he was in the Amber Heard court case, does he? Because that would look bad. That's kind of not in there. That wouldn't look great, would it? So he's in there. And he's saying there is like 73 or something, or 83 accounts that generate 73 million interactions. Like on Twitter alone. And I'm like, well done. Jesus. Oh my God. That's nice. And they were saying all this stuff about Meghan. I'm sure I saw according to Taz. I'm sure I saw an according to Taz one, but they blurred it out. But you could kind of recognise, I'm sure it was. Some of the other stuff that they dragged up was this Danny Baker tweet, right? Now, Danny Baker hasn't been funny for 20 years. I don't even think I found him amusing back in the day, to be honest, when it was all the big breakfast and stuff like that. He's always just been this little weird guy who bangs on about football. Not my bag, not my thing, don't care about him. And he tweeted that stupid thing. Now, I wouldn't have liked it if he tweeted that about anyone's kid. And yeah, you can see the racial undertones with that. But that one thing, and he lost his job. He had consequences. He had real world consequences. He lost his job. He has lost credibility. He's probably not finding a lot of work. He's probably having that cancelled moment that they talk about. And yeah. And he was like, well, I didn't realise that. Well, whatever. I would have been all. It's disrespectful. Just don't do it. You're horrible. And yeah. And the rest. Just not getting into that. Don't like the dude. Yeah. But they never mention the consequences of it. They never say, oh, this was done, that was done, and everything like that. They never turn around and say, well, actually, this guy lost his job because he was an idiot. They just bring up that one tweet, and then they flash up some other tweets. Now, I have never, and I'm not saying this because I've got a selective memory, I've never seen in my comment section anything regarding Meghan's race. Nothing. And there's lots of comments. I might be being naive. I might be being I might be being naive, but I haven't seen it in mine. And I'd delete it and I'd block the user from the channel if somebody was being racist towards anyone, even though I'm not a fan of either of the Sussexes. And I've got to say, it's actually Prince Harry I don't like. And I've never liked. I've never been sure on him. So, yeah, there's that. So, moving on. The Daily Mail will probably be having to answer a lot to this. I'm guessing they want the Sussexes. I don't see how they can keep their titles. I don't see how they would want to keep their titles. They even say in the film, in the global Netflix event, that they offered to give up their titles. Okay, cool, dude. Give up your titles, renounce your place in the line of succession, and just jog off into the sunset. Make nice content with Tyler Perry. Do all these things. You don't have to try and burn the monarchy down. Now, I have a conspiracy. It's just a conspiracy. It's just a thing. And I've mentioned it on the community posts. But I was listening to I was listening to a David Icke podcast at the weekend. I listen to lots of podcasts. And he said that Harry and Meghan are useful idiots in a game that is going to be to bring the monarchy down. And David Icke is no fan of the monarchy, as you probably guessed. But I still listen to him, even though, yeah, that. And then Omid Scabies, as Lady C would say, releases a book called Endgame. Is going to release a book called Endgame about the end of the monarchy. I may be needing to adjust my tinfoil hat here, but I smell something, and it's something that's bringing down the tracks here. I hope I'm wrong. I could be wrong. It's just a hunch. I'm going to do some tarot readings on it. So yeah, I just want to say Princess Eugenie is in there. Was in the documentary. She didn't have a speaking part, but she was in it. And it wasn't just a photo. She was like smiling and beaming and waving at the camera next to H in one of their candid moments. One of the things I must say that this does bring up for me, and I'm sure it's going to be of concern to you guys, is freedom of speech and whistleblowing. The documentary series, and I use documentary in the lightest possible terms, seems to be a rebuff of the bullying claims, a rebuff of the claims regarding her behaviour towards Meghan's behaviour towards palace staff and her own family. One thing, she's punching down when she's talking about Samantha Markle. Samantha Markle has MS. She's a tiny lady. I don't mean in stature. I mean in terms of individual as a person. She's one person against a whole industry of newspapers and editors. And if they're that evil, if the newspapers and everything are that evil, why doesn't she reach out and help her dad? Why doesn't she reach out and help Samantha? That's just a thought. Why don't they do something with that? Another thing that I'm interested in, it's the free speech element, the whistleblowing. So palace insiders basically were whistleblowing to the press and discussing things with the press. But it was all around the time that people actually left the service of Meghan and Harry. I think if you go to my community section, you'll see some posts, one from Valentine Lowe and one from showing a timeline of events regarding the implications of the bullying claims. The palace hushed up so much for Meghan, and they hushed up the bullying stuff as well. They actually put it under, they haven't published the report that happened. Now, that would suggest to me that she's been implicated in it somehow. Maybe it doesn't look too good for that. So maybe they're saving her embarrassment by doing that. Just saying. Could well be. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff there about shutting down free speech, shutting down dissent. There's an implication as well that people have paid for bots, which is really rich coming from a thing like Bot Sentinel and all those things. It is really rich coming from them. I don't believe they ask for privacy, but then turn around and say, "Oh, William screamed at me." It's just like, well, probably, yeah. And she wasn't allowed in a meeting. Well, was Catherine there? Was the corgis there? Could you bring a friend? I mean, come on, man. What's all that about, eh? He's basically tarring William with all this being, it's all William's fault and Catherine's fault. It's to try to make William look bad. Jealousy is a terrible thing. And I really think this is a lot of what's happening. And I don't think it's Meghan. I think it's mainly Harry. And I think everybody needs to get their head... I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think Meghan is innocent in all of this. But boy, Harry's just, I don't know, man. This is unreal. Absolutely unreal. I don't see how they're going to come back from this into the royal family. I think they're just burning the bridges happily away. I don't think there's an appetite for them to come back. I think this documentary, I don't know why, but I don't think it's going to age well for them. Not at all. And they neglect to point out that while Prince Philip was on his deathbed, they released that whole Oprah interview. And we thought the worst takeaway would be the fact that I had depression. No, you said somebody in the royal family was racist. You knew what you were doing. My God, you cannot be that innocent. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? Really? 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 Anyway, that's what I thought. Don't watch it. It's not worth it. Just read what the papers have got to say. They'll have most of the outtakes by now. I'm away to give myself some brain bleach. And I shall see you guys shortly for some readings and some back to normal services. And we'll do a full podcast at the weekend. So I hope you enjoyed today's little bit of a podcast. And I shall see you in the next one. Bye, guys.